Let's talk about Dylann Roof. And Dylann Roof is and his picture is on the screen now. He is the 20-something-year-old psycho who, and actually, let me take that name. He's a 26-year-old, I believe 23-year-old now, young man who went into Mother Emanuel AME in Charleston, South Carolina, and he killed 9 people, attempted to kill 3. Attorney General Loretta Lynch said today that they are going after the death penalty for Dylann Roof. For a total of the 33-count federal indictment, concluding the 9 murders, 3 attempts, and multiple firearm offensive. The justification is because of their race, that Dylann Roof targeted these people, quote, because of their race, and in order to interfere with their exercise of religion. They are seeking the death penalty. He was charged in last July on hate crime charges. And there you have it. Dylann Roof, if he's found guilty, he could be facing the death penalty depending on sentencing. But I don't really want to talk about Dylann Roof as much as I want to talk about the people that he killed. Pastor Clementa Pinckney, he was 41 years old. Tywanza Sanders, a young man who was sharing the Bible study on Instagram right before he was killed, 26 years old. Reverend Sharonda Coleman Singleton, 45 years old. Cynthia Hunt, 54 years old. Reverend Daniel Simmons, 74 years old. Myra Thompson, 59 years old. Daphne Middleton Doctor, 49 years old. Ethel Lee Lance, 70 years old. And Susie Jackson, 87 years old. These are the people that Dylann Roof killed. These are the people that Dylann Roof went and joined in a Bible study, sat there for over an hour, participated, because one thing I know about black churches, if you're there, you're going to participate. Right? Especially in a small setting. He probably read a scripture. He probably sang a song with them. He sat there for an hour contemplating whether or not he was going to kill those people. And he came out later on and he said that he originally thought that he wasn't going to do it because the people there were so nice to him. And yet, instead of acknowledging the love that he received, he returned with the most violent expression of hate that we've seen in a long time. Yet and still, I'm going to be honest with you, I oppose the death penalty, even in the case of Dylann Roof. Not out of mercy, not out of forgiveness, none of that. Nope. Just simply out of the fact that I don't believe the U.S. government or any government should be in the business of executing their citizens or exacting revenge against their citizens, state-sanctioned murder, particularly because we get it wrong so many times. And when we get it wrong with people of color. And it's very difficult. I'm actually having this conversation with you as I'm having it in my head. It's very difficult to look at a person like Dylann Roof who did something as downright hateful and spiteful and malicious as he did, and try to apply that same principle to say, if I don't support the death penalty, I don't support the death penalty. This is one of the most difficult ones for me to ever say that I don't support the death penalty for. Because of all people, in my natural state and my natural inclination is fry the son of a bitch. That's my natural inclination. But if we open that door, we are going to continue to justify or underscore, basically support, when they do it to people incorrectly, when they execute people wrongfully. And how many cases have we seen? There was a man who asked Hillary Clinton about the death penalty in the debate. He had been on death row for almost 30 years for crime that he was later exonerated. And yet you still have people who are willing to support the death penalty. And they're going to use cases like this to try to keep you supporting the death penalty. But never mind the times when we get it wrong. Never mind the moral quandary where we are supporting state-sanctioned murder. So yeah, even a person like Dylann Roof, not because out of love, because, you know, I'm sure I can put the love aside, not out of forgiveness, because, you know, I know how not to be a good Christian. I can just never forgive him for what he did if I chose to, right? It's not out of anything like that. It's out of the simple fact that we as Americans, we have executed so many people that have been innocent, and we find out after the fact. And in what position are we in as a nation to bring moral judgment against any of our citizens, considering our past? Let him sit in jail for the rest of his life so that he can realize just how long of a life he had in front of him. All right, I'm going to stop there because I was actually going to refer to some activities in jail that could help. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm trying my best, people. As you can see, I'm trying my best to be above the fray. It's difficult. It is very difficult to face yourself when your inclination wants to take you down the road that is opposite of the ideas that you espouse. Right? What about all those people who, you know, there's a lot of people who are for economic populism until they get a large enough paycheck to be like, wait a minute, let's hold off on these tax rates hikes. You know, there's people who believe the things they say until they're put in a position where it actually crosses over their intersection and their problem. And then you find out maybe they don't really believe what they said they believed all this time. Consistency is a very difficult thing to do. And I'm just trying to practice it here because I can tell you in one breath, I can sneeze and probably say, fry him. Kill him. He deserves it. But it's very difficult for me to just be consistent and say I'm opposed to the death penalty because we get it wrong so many times. Yes, we would get it right with this bastard, but we get it wrong so many times, and it's an institution that needs to be brought to an end in America in general, period. We don't have the moral authority to execute anyone in America, considering all the things that we've done. So let them grow up. Let him grow up and realize just how long life could have been